Good evening, everybody, from Roland Garros. Welcome back to the Olympic Tennis Daily. I'm Christopher Clarey, longtime tennis correspondent for the New York Times and now a full-time author. I wrote The Master on Federer, and I'm working on The Warrior about Nadal, but tonight might be a good night to start working on a book about Andy Murray.
Bonjour Chris, bonjour à tous. Je suis Romain Vinot, tennis journalist, your French accent during the Olympics, and the fellow countryman of one of the heroes of these games, the swimmer, already triple gold medalist, Léon Marchand.
You're already branching out from the tennis, huh? I like that, Romain. Huh? Looking for the French happy stories. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we Americans had our Simone Biles Day today,
Yes.
winning another all-around title in gymnastics. But I have to say, it really was Andy Murray evening, in any case, out here. I just got back from my nightly pilgrimage out to the Suzanne Lenglen court, where Andy Murray and Dan Evans have been playing doubles most of these nights in the men's doubles tournament here at the Olympics. And this time, there was no miracle. There was no victory, and Andy Murray's career ended a little bit before 10 p.m. In a doubles match against Taylor Fritz and Tommy Paul of the United States. And it was very poignant, as of course it was going to be. And I have to say, I mean, I think the fact that Andy's been so close to losing, he and Dan came into this knowing it was Andy's last tournament, and they saved 5 match points, or 5 career points, if you want to call them that, in the first round against the Japanese. They saved 2 more match points and 1 in the next round against the Belgians. And then tonight, Fritz and Paul are playing some good ball these days. And Andy saved another one. He saved number 8 in the second set, but ultimately they couldn't maintain the momentum that they got from breaking back in the second set and lost 6-2, 6-4. And when the last return from Andy Murray went long, he and Dan Evans embraced on the clay, and the crowd began to chant Andy's name. And they came to net, and Fritz and Paul were obviously very subdued in their celebration. And then Andy's name was chanted in the crowd, and he waved goodbye. But there wasn't much more than that, because it's the Olympics. And I think we have to just look at Murray's career. I mean, I was watching it and thinking about all that he's achieved, winning 3 major titles, of course. He'll always be remembered as the British man who ended a 77-year drought at Wimbledon in singles, with that remarkable fortitude that he showed, and beating Novak Djokovic to be able to win that title. In 2016, he became the first British man to reach number 1. And in a lot of ways, for me, he was sort of the 4th member of the Beatles. He was, we say there was no big 4, and it was all big 3, and that's kind of the way it looks right now with Djokovic and Federer and Nadal. But there was a time in that 2016 period when it really was a big 4, and deservedly so. Andy pushed his talent to the max, and he won those 2 consecutive gold medals in singles at the Olympics. No person has ever done that, and ultimately that huge effort in 2016 really cost him. It ended up, I think, pushing his body to the limit, and his hip gave out on him, and he was never the same player again. But incredible fortitude for him to come back from hip resurfacing and come back to the tour and play on. And he didn't get that big high in singles he was probably looking for, but he won a lot of tough matches and certainly entertained a lot of people in the first weeks of majors, won another title on the ATP Tour in singles, and obviously is still a huge level you could see just in the way he returned out of that ad court here at the Olympics with Dan. But it was as it was going to be. It was just a very poignant thing, and not as symbolic probably as Wimbledon was when he played with his brother there on center court, but quite a farewell. What were your thoughts, Roma?
Yes, I'm agree with you. Chris is definitely a member of a Big 4, and when he first come back, it was amazing to see him just fight on the field, and yeah, it was a little strange to see Andy crying on the Cours Philippe Chatrier here at Roland Garros. Even though he played, of course, a final here and 4 others semis, I think it was neither his favorite Grand Slam or his favorite surface. And there was no particular celebration tonight. It was not like in Wimbledon. It was pretty emotional on the center court too. But I thought it was great that the players applaud a lot. Dan Evans was in tears, and the whole crowd was able to yeah, just say goodbye, even if it was just for 2 minutes. It was obviously very emotional. We were very emotional tonight, and yeah, we knew that before the tournament, but he fought a lot, and yeah, maybe in part of us we just we were hoping maybe another hand for Andy, but yeah, it was very emotional on the center court tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to say, I mean, I think he was at peace with the decision. I think he pushed it as far as he could push it, and it's nice to see somebody kind of go out on their own terms. He had those big highs here, and he'll always remember those couple of matches that he and Dan won here in Paris in the doubles. So it was an emotional day. Not a surprising thing to see Andy Murray go out, but what is surprising is that there are no defending gold medalists left from Tokyo in these Olympics. Alexander Zverev was knocked out today. Barbora Krejcikova and Katerina Siniakova were knocked out today as well. So those are the last possible defending titleists from Tokyo just 3 years ago. But the game does move on. But the biggest news, other than Murray ending his career, was the fact that Iga Swiatek, who seems to have had the lock and keys to Roland Garros for the last 3 years, was beaten, upset, I will say, in the semifinals by Zheng Qinwen of China, and that is certainly the upset of the day. 6-2, 7-5, a little under 2 hours. What were your thoughts on that, Romain?
Yeah, what an upset, like you said, Chris. Of course, Iga was the huge favorite in this event. She seemed absolutely invincible here, having won 21 consecutive matches, and of course 3 titles here on a row and 4 in total. And even if she wasn't always flawless in this tournament, with some up and downs in her opening matches, before this match she led 6-0 in her head-to-head with Zheng Qinwen, and the Chinese player was solid and determined to reach the last 4. But she had spent 6 hours, more than 6 hours on court against Navarro and Kerber. So yeah, it was a really big surprise. But the Chinese start very well, and even without being particularly impressive, she annoyed a lot the world number 1 by playing a lot of variation and defending very well. And she forced Iga to take a risk and hit maybe some extra shots. And the Pole made 36 and forced error, and it's not normal for her, and a lot with her backhand. So yeah, after losing the first set, Iga regained her calm and her game, and quickly lead 4-0. And Chris, at that point, I thought, we thought maybe we had seen this scenario before. Like she was going to increase maybe her power and before making a final difference in the third set. I don't know if you feel this if you felt sorry this kind of feeling during the match.
Well, I just think, honestly, Romain, I've watched Iga Swiatek play many matches as you have. I think if Iga Swiatek plays close to her regular level, I think she wins this match.
Yeah,
I really do. And I think because of that surge she had at the start of the second set, typical Iga, she's a great front runner normally. And then there were a few shots in that from 4-love that she missed that she just doesn't miss. Those hanging shots in mid-court, particularly with her forehand. just are usually automatics for her, especially on clay. And she was just misjudging them. And it looked to me like she was guiding the ball rather than striking through it. And she said later, she broke down in tears in her interview with Poland's Eurosport and wasn't able to come in really and talk in the print mix zone. But she basically said before then that it's her backhand, which is the rock of her game, and really what she relies on just was not reliable today. She couldn't count on it. And they were playing back-to-back days like she's been. She hasn't had time to kind of fix it. But I think a lot of it has to do just with the stakes and the nerves. I mean, Olympics mean a lot to Iga. Her dad, Tomasz, was an Olympic rower, competed in the 1988 games in Seoul for Poland. She's grown up in the cult of Olympism, really believes in the importance of it. And, maybe she's a sensitive person and has put a lot of stock in it. And maybe it just makes it harder for her to express her best tennis. That's how it looked to me anyway. But certainly full credit to Zheng to be able to take advantage of that and to fight. And I thought some of her comments today were very telling. And basically, Zheng said that she felt like she knew in her heart that she had a victory like this in her and that she could beat the world number one for the first time and beat Iga on clay. But she also said, until you do it, you don't really ever know for sure. And she said, I'm just so proud of myself. And I am so proud for my country, she said. I feel right now my mental is at another level. But interesting, she mentioned the country, Romain. Talk a little bit about just, what this might mean in China.
Yeah, for her, she will be the first Chinese player in history to win an Olympic medal. But China is definitely celebrating because as in the mixed doubles, Wang Jingyu and Zheng Qinwen, beat the Dutch pair Demi Schuurs and Wesley Koolhof to qualify for the final and secure another medal. So yeah, it was a really big day for China and for Chinese tennis, of course.
Yeah, we should, just to be clear, the Chinese have won Olympic medals in doubles before. They never have won one in singles. So
yeah,
for sure for Zhang, she'll be the first medalist. Her big hero, she has a couple. One of them is Novak Djokovic, but her big hero growing up was, like so many Chinese players, Li Na, who was the first Chinese player, man or woman, to win a Grand Slam singles title. Li Na won two, 2011, 2014, before retiring. But Li Na never won a medal at the Olympics. Finished fourth in Beijing. So this is uncharted territory for the Chinese, and also I would call a market opportunity for Zheng in a country where the market matters. It's a big market, and she knows it. And I think I interviewed her a few years ago, Lama. I sat down with her at Roland Garros 2 years ago, actually, before she played Iga there, and she gave Iga a good run in their first match. She lost, but it was a tight match. And I was just kind of impressed by how her English wasn't perfect. She's 19 years old, talking to a middle-aged journalist like me, and she had just lots of personality. She just kind of let it roll and let it rip, and was taking shots, taking chances, kind of teasing me, teasing her agent. So she's got charisma, and I think that sort of personality translates well to the big stage. And I remember her saying to me, I really like the big stage. I can't wait to play these matches. And she's lost a few for sure, including the Australian Open final this year to Aryna Sabalenka. But she clearly has matured as a player now at 21. She's got that variety you talked about. And I think she's somebody who has a chance to win multiple Grand Slam titles if she gets her game together. She seems to be improving to me.
Yeah, I'm agree. And she was in final in Australian Open. And it's great for her, and maybe today, like she said in mix zone, maybe she clicked today, and I'm sure it was just the beginning for her.
Yeah, and I think she'll play the final on Saturday. Iga Swiatek will have a bronze medal match tomorrow. We don't know who either one of them is playing yet, because right now, as we're doing the show, Donna Vekic and Anna Karolina Smilova are playing the women's semifinal tonight on Chatri after Vekic's amazing victory last night over Marta Kostyuk very, very late. So we'll see what happens with that match to decide what the matchups are tomorrow. But we have, in the men's game, the matchups are clear for the semifinals after today. Novak Djokovic, always Djokovic, it seems like. Maybe not at the Olympics. Maybe this year. We'll play Lorenzo Musetti in the semifinal. And the other one, Carlos Alcaraz, will play Felix Auger-Aliassime. I would say the surprise of the men's draw. He's a big name, but hasn't had great results lately. So that's big news for Canada, big news for Felix. What do you think? Let's talk a little bit about the matches, Romain. What catches your eye there?
Yeah, I think it's a little upset, like you said, because Musetti won against Zverev today, and I don't know for the semis, but the match, the schedule is pretty good, I think. But Musetti wants today 7-5, 7-5 in 2 hours and 5 minutes, and it was just another fine performance from the Italian. I think he's currently at the top of his game. He managed today to beat defending champion Alexander Zverev, and Musetti is known for his beautiful tennis. It's already a beautiful player, but we don't always highlight maybe enough just how effective is he. Today against Zverev, his drop shot, his backhand were extremely effective, and he also serves very well, winning 81 points behind his first ball and 96 behind his second. So Zverev was only able to convert one break point in the first set and had none in the second one. So yeah, Musetti, I think, has to play his best to just annoy the Novak Djokovic. But I think the craziest thing about Musetti's adventure is that everyone thought, and we talked about that, Chris, he would be exhausted when he arrived in Paris because he made the decision to play at UMag in Croatia, and he just lost in the tiebreak of the third set in the final. So this situation could have seriously compromised his chance of shining here. And he arrived in Paris on Sunday morning to play his first match on the afternoon. And we have a name for him, Chris. I remember that.
we call him the jet setter.
Yeah.
And so which is nice for tennis players, and he's the last jet setter left. But boy, what a wild week or two, and you almost wonder whether he sort of has that momentum and he's just let it go. But looking at the way Novak Djokovic handled another elegant Euro player with a good one-handed backhand tonight, I don't know. I mean, Novak matches up so well against those types of players, doesn't he? And Novak just sort of broke Stefanos Tsitsipas's heart again tonight for the 11th straight time. I'm not sure you can call it a heartbreak anymore at this point, more like a reality check again. But it looked again like Djokovic was going to be vulnerable, Romain. It was 6-3 for Djokovic in the first set, no surprise. And then Djoko was down love 3 in the second set. He got some treatment on his knee, which is obviously post-operative. He had Per Bastolt, the longtime ATP trainer, out working on his knee and adjusting it and moving it around. And Djokovic was wincing, and his wife Yelena was like waving her hands in the stands, like, no mas, no mas. But and then Novak lost the next game to love 4, and then it was kind of lights out after that. Tsitsipas served for the set. It was up 40 love in his service game, and thought he had a winning serve. The shot was out, and then Novak just took it from there and basically just crushed the life out of the match, won it in a tiebreaker, and moved on again. 11 straight against Stefanos Tsitsipas.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Romain, on that?
Oh, it was surprising the beginning of the second set. You're right, but yeah, after that, just the Joker was here on court, and yeah, I think Tsitsipas was here, of course, to win, but it was difficult at the end, and yeah, Djokovic wants to win a medal this year. He's already announced that he want to be a champion here in Paris for this game. So yeah, Djokovic is back, and I hope his knee will be okay tomorrow. And just against Musetti, he already won 6 games on 7 played. So of course he will be favorite tomorrow. He was favorite in Wimbledon 3 weeks ago, and he won. So so yeah. And Chris, another favorite did well today, Carlos Alcaraz. he will face a bigger surprise than Musetti, Felix Auger-Aliassime. And honestly, Chris, did you predict that the Canadian would be at this level this week?
Yeah, I remember sitting down for my book with Roger Federer in a cafe in Switzerland and talking about the guys who could be the next great players in tennis with Roger a few years ago. And Felix Auger-Aliassime was one of the ones we talked about and one of the ones Roger mentioned. And obviously, everybody thought he would be a guy with his athleticism and his sort of his career plan and his maturity. It would really break through to the highest level. It just hasn't happened for him. So this is nice to see. I think he's got a lot of tools. He's always been a little bit mechanical for me in how he plays. He's had some injury issues as well. So it's good to see. But, he is playing a tennis genius, Carlos Alcaraz. And I got to tell you, I think there's one of the best matchups in tennis right now is Tommy Paul against Carlos Alcaraz. You got to be kind of a tennis insider to think that or agree with that. But I think it's true. They both are just really all-court players, very flashy, can do everything, like to come to net. They're both incredibly quick. And today, Tommy Paul was close to pushing Carlos. He had a set point on him in the second set and was playing wonderful tennis, just like he was at Wimbledon. And then Carlos just hit that genius gear that he has and hit one of the best shots of the tournament. He went from an outside of the court backhand return on the ad court on a set point, ran all the way across the back baseline to the other side, past the tram lines on that side, and hits this incredible forehand passing shot down the line winner to save the set point. And then he ends up doing another one later in the same set where he comes and tracks down a backhand and hits another backhand winner. I don't think anybody else in tennis, not even Tommy Paul, could have hit those two shots. And honestly, it was fantastic to see. And whoever ends up playing Alcaraz is going to have to deal with that genius gear. And now it's Felix and Novak Djokovic. We shouldn't forget is just 2 matches away from the last thing he's missing in tennis. It's the Olympic gold medal. He only has to win 2 more. Even if he's limping on his knee, you just cannot think he's going to find a way. But Alcaraz has had his number, and so he may have to deal with him in the final. That's what it comes down to. But Romain, we're running low on time here, so we got to switch ahead. Tomorrow's a big day, and the ITF is, as ever, doing its World Tennis Predictor game, and you can choose a winner from 3 Olympic matches each day. Hope you've been playing along. There will be prizes for the ones who have the most correct picks. I keep asking for them to tell me what they are. I haven't heard yet, but I'll keep asking. The 3 matches are Felix Auger-Aliassime against Carlos Alcaraz, and then the bronze medal women's singles match, Iga Swiatek against either Dana Vekic or Smidlova, and then the mixed doubles final, the Chinese against Mahach and Siniakova, who were once a couple, are no longer a couple, but are still playing wonderful mixed doubles together. But Romain, we're now. That's all great to hear, and that's important to know what's happening tomorrow. But what's happening right now with the French lesson of the day?
Yeah, Chris, even though she lost today, Iga Swiatek may still get the chance to open her bakery at these Olympics in the bronze medal match. She's a bagel specialist, you know that. But do you know how to say 6 love in French, Chris?
I do not know, Romain. Tell me.
Yeah, on dit une roue de bicyclette, which literally means a bicycle wheel. And if it does a perfect, like 6-0, 6-0, it's simply une bicyclette. Quand on partait de bon matin, quand on partait sur les chemins, à bicyclette, as Yves Montand sang, Chris.
Oh, Romain, you are branching out, taking some chances on the air. I like it. Well, it's been quite a ride, bicycle or whatever, in these Olympics, and we will now see what happens in the end game. Thanks to everybody for listening to us tonight. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
À demain.